We're back with another episode of Life in Law, and our special guest with us is Daniela Cueva. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And can you just tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself, just to start off?
Well, about myself, I am 35 years old. I have three kids. I've been a mom, I guess, since I'm 20. Have a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 4-year-old that's about to be five on the first March 1st. So this Sunday, basically. And I've
Aw,
lived most most of my life in well, I was born in Miami, but then I lived most of my life in Ecuador, so I grew up in South America.
that's awesome. And when did you come back to the US?
So basically, in 2019, I had been back and forth like for since 17. I've been back and forth. Work for FEMA as catastrophe, basically first responder for insurance companies. I do adjusting for flood catastrophes, basically. So I make reports of damages for FEMA so that FEMA can recommend payment to the insurance companies and all that. So I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. Yeah. So I used to go back and forth a lot, work for 6 months, and come back until in 2019 I decided to stay. And then, trying to try to create a life here in the United States. Oh my God. There's a little bit of a ongoing situation with the cats there. Oh,
What happened?
sorry. The cats are playing. They're crazy. Oh, but well, yeah. Then I decided to stay basically on 2019, and got a job, like a regular full-time job at Amazon. I met this man, and the story goes downhill from there.
Okay, so you were in, and so when you decided that you were going to stay, you were in Clay County, Florida.
Yes, I moved to Clay County, Florida. I was in this place called Fleming Island, little city, nice.
And so you got into a relationship and you were not married, correct?
We were not married. We were dating. He was very quickly in advancing the relationship. He proposed like we had like a month, a little over a month of just dating, and he already proposed to me. Like it was very fast. Like he love bombed me for sure. Now that I know what that is, looking back, he made a lot to make me feel special at the beginning, which um I wasn't like really used to that type of attention or like people taking care of me like that. But now I look at it and it's like a trap. Basically, it was a trap. He moved into my
So when you say
apartment.
like with the love bombing, because a lot of people throw that word around, what kind of things would he do?
Oh,
Was he buying
like,
you gifts? Like,
oh yeah, like he absolutely, like, for example, I had a car crash and I totaled my car. And I wasn't really wanting to be in a relationship. I told him I wasn't really ready and I didn't really want to, like, I asked him to, like, let's stop, let's just, like, this is too much, I have too much going on. And he's like, no, I really love you, I care about you. He got me a car. He first rented me a car for like weeks so that I could be able to go to work. And then I thought, like, that's really great, like he did that, that's really nice of him. And then he bought a car from his dad, an old car, because his dad had an old Jeep, and he bought that for me. Like, oh, but you have to pay me back. And I said, oh, of course, I'll pay you back, which was also like something that down the road was a lot of stress. He was always like hounding me for the money when he lived with me after he moved in with me. Like, that's when he flipped. His completely change of personality. He wasn't this nice person anymore. He was very cold, very weird, I would say. Once he moved in, he just became very rude, very dismissive, very aggressive, very violent. He was under a lot of stress, which I would like forgive him, like, oh, like let him, give him a pass, be like, oh no, well, he's stressed, he's going through this, he's going through the divorce, like always excuse him for his behavior. Like he would have an argument with his ex-wife and like stomp and like throw something or break something in the house, and my kids are there. I'm like, you can't do that. Like, I don't care what's going on. Like, you can't just like terrorize people here that doesn't have nothing to do with what you're going through. And he would get even more angry when I will confront him, and it was just not good. When he moved into my house, that's when everything went even worse.
So at the time he was going through a divorce, was he still married or was his divorce final?
It was not final. It was not final. He was still going through it. He had been separated for 6 months. Um, I was too young, I think. Like, I didn't really know. Now I look at it and it's like I should have never got involved in that situation. He was going through so much himself. But he was so nice to me at the beginning that I thought, this guy's a great guy. He does all these great things. He had a great job. He worked for the Department of Defense. He had a great paying job. Like, he was an aerospace
What did he
engineer.
do? So he was an aerospace engineer for the Department of Defense.
Yes.
And so do you think that a lot of what he did was like financial, with trying to spend money on you and using money as a way to sort of draw you in more?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He saw me as vulnerable, as that I needed help, a single mom trying to make it, trying to bring my kids to from Ecuador to the United States. He even bought my daughter's past papers, like he bought the ticket, he paid everything for her to come here. Like, he even gave me some money so I can fix her papers, like custody stuff, so she can come to live here to the United States with me. He was doing a lot of things that I thought he was a good guy. Like, he just used money, I
So you
guess,
had
as a
your so you had your another child that was still in Ecuador when you came here.
yes, both of my
And
older
how
kids
old
were
was
in Ecuador. They were that back then 7 and 6, no, 6 and 9. Yeah, they were 6 and 9 at that time.
And so were they unable to come with you when you decided to stay?
Well, yeah, because always used to come work just for a little short period of time and then we'll go back. But this time I decided I didn't make enough money, so I needed to, continue paying their lifestyle down there in Ecuador. They were in private school and all that. So I stayed here to send my mom money with the, intent of building a life here so I could eventually bring them. So that was the plan. And he really like wanted me to bring the kids over. Now I feel like it was like, looking back, I feel like that's because he wanted me trapped, basically, nowhere to go, nowhere to run. And with the kids it was harder, because you can't just uproot the kids from my house. So I brought my daughter first and my son later, 6 months later. And I should have not done that, but he was putting a lot of pressure in that. He was like demanding basically that I brought my kids up here. Like, oh no, like, guilt tripping me, like making me feel like if I don't bring them I'm not a good mom or whatever. I had this gut feeling that I shouldn't, because things weren't perfect, but he kept saying, no, this is just temporary. This is going to change. Things are going to change. Things are going to get better. But it just kept getting worse. He, shortly after my kids came here to the United States, he relapsed. And and I found out I was pregnant.
So, okay, so let's back up for a second. So you when you say you thought that he wanted to like trap you, do you think that he felt that if you went back to Ecuador that he didn't want you to go back because he felt you would have like support and your family and
Yeah, absolutely. He never wanted me to go back to Ecuador. Like, he's even now fighting for that, so that I don't, like, trying to take away the passport, my child's passport from me and stuff. Like, that's one of his big things. Um, Even though I've been with her before, like, he signed for the passport while we were together. He agreed to her passport, and I even took her to Ecuador once. But now it's like a big problem. He doesn't want me to go anymore. with her. And it's just about control. Like
And so you mentioned a relapse. So it was did he have a drug addiction, and if so, what was he using?
so when I met him, he had been 8.5 years sober, which I thought, was impressive. Like, oh wow, he has a very good, strength, strong willpower. He overcame this. I saw it as a strength instead of like looking at it as a red flag. Now I feel like it was a major red flag. He did a lot, mostly alcohol. Like that was his, I guess, bigger drug of choice. But that will he will goes downhill, and then he starts going into other drugs. He did crack, he did fentanyl, he did meth, like you name it, like everything. Like he was abusing pills, Xanax, like whatever he could get his hands on during that time when he really went downhill on his drug addiction after almost 9 years of being sober. So that was really like a shock for me because I'm not a drug addict. I don't have like that addiction personality. Like I don't get it. Like how can you just destroy your life over a substance? Like I don't know. I've always been able to control my drinking, like if I have a drink or two, that's it. I don't get the addiction of like having one drink and can't stop. Like that was him. He needed to drink the whole bottle. So like I didn't get that. It didn't click with my mind, and I just couldn't handle that situation because I was like, what is wrong with you? Like what's wrong with you? Like I don't get it. I didn't get his thinking, his thought process. He would do things that I would never thought nobody could do, like have the guts to do it. Like I always thought like he can't go that low. And he would go that low. Like he would go even lower than I would have ever expected him to go. He was just horrible. Horrible. And I feel like that's the real him is like that because now like he's not on drugs supposedly. I think he's drinking, but that's another subject. Um but I feel like that's just like who he really is, his nature. Um he just has very 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 bad childhood, and examples. His father was an addict. His mom enabled his father. His mom now enables him. It's just a very very disturbing dynamic, family dynamic they have down there. Like, uh,
Yeah, it's like a lot of times, like when people are addicts, like it's always the mother who's enabling it, whether it's letting them live at their house or
yeah,
bailing them out of
exactly.
jail or supporting them no matter what,
She
giving them
did
money.
all that. She bailed him out of jail every single time. She had him live in his house every single time that after jail she picks him up. She buys things for him. She pays his attorneys. Like it's crazy. Like this woman, I don't get her because she was a victim of domestic violence. Like she denies that, but he told me that his father used to beat her, and then she denies that. Like she covers for her husband, like that's dead now. So it's like I don't know, the lady has very bad issues, psychological issues.
So tell me about what happened in 2020. You had said something about him getting arrested for aggravated assault on a pregnant woman. And so tell us what happened with that.
So yeah, okay, so we were having a lot of issues fighting. He started calling the cops on me because one day I told him, he pushed me to the floor and I fell, and I said, if you push me again, I'm gonna call the police on you. And then he freaked out, and then he's the one that started calling the police every time we had an argument. Like no domestic violence, no, I didn't touch him, and he would call the police and tell them that I'm crazy, that I'm acting, that I'm attacking him, like making up shit. And I'm like, what? So like it was a lot of, he was trying to set a record, I think, like with all these calls. He was the one that called the most. I called a few times. I called like four, and he called 9 times before all these arrests and stuff. So yeah, so that day, the night before, he kicked me out. We were in the middle of moving from one house to another in Fleming Island. So we were moving our stuff, and that day we had an argument, And we still had the other house. Like we had both houses rented. Like it was the last month of this, and we just had gotten this. So we had like a few weeks in between. No, like a whole month in between. We had to move our stuff. So we were like doing it. It was close. It was down the road, so it was, we were taking our time. So that day we were fighting in the new house. I just like, I can't do this. My kids were here, so I took my kids, put them in the car, and we went to the old house, which was kind of empty, but it still had stuff. So just kind of like to breathe, like take the kids out of that toxic situation. And he went crazy and like sent my other car. I had two cars. I had a van and I had like an auto. So he grabbed my van, put all my stuff in that van, and towed the van back to the old apartment, like super random, super quick. Like he always used to do crazy stuff like that. Like one time before all these arrests and all these things, something really crazy happened. One night I was working at Amazon in my night shift. He would always taunt me when I'm at work. He would like accuse me of things, like wanted to check on me all the time. And at work we had this policy of no phones. And I was always getting in trouble because he's always calling me and harassing me and making up stuff that I'm somehow having sex in the parking lot with random people. Like he's crazy like that. Like I had like literally mm, stressed all the time because I felt like he needed to be in touch with me at all times or else I was cheating. Like he would
Usually
always,
when people are like so paranoid like that, it's because they're cheating
oh
and like
yeah,
they're
obviously.
accusing you of what they're doing.
I found out that he was dating people while I was at work in Amazon in my night shifts. I found out later down the road that he would go out on dates while I was working. So yeah, I guess that covers the reason why he was acting crazy like that. But I was on my nerves. I was always like trying to please him, trying to make him feel like, oh no, I'm not doing this, like proving myself basically to him all the time. And it was just very stressful. And one night I came back home from work and my whole house was gone. It was my apartment. My apartment. My whole house was gone. Like everything, the furniture, everything. There was just like an inflatable mattress. That's all that was left in the house. And I was like, what happened? Like this crazy man just took all my stuff, not even just his stuff, because he had moved into my apartment. So he took our stuff and stuff we bought. Like we sold both of our couches to buy a new one, for example. He took our couch, and I was like, just because I didn't answer him, I guess, whatever, because I was just like overwhelmed. I was like, I can't deal with this crazy. I'm not gonna touch the phone because I can't. I'm not supposed to be on the phone at work. So he freaked out and stole everything from our house. I was in shock and I was like, distraught, calling him, crying, ended up begging him to come back. And then I had to help him put all the stuff back into the house. And then, that was a couple months before we had to move to the new house, a bigger house. And all this happened. So this happened because, okay, he kicked me out, all my stuff back to the old apartment. And then in the next morning, the kids went to school and the school was close by to the new house. So I stopped by to try to talk to him, reason with him, like maybe he calmed down, maybe I can now talk to him. And I knocked on the door, nobody answers. So I was like, well, he might not be home, but this is my home because I had already moved my stuff and I already moved my address. So I literally broke in. I kind of like hit the door a little bit too hard and like just it just popped open. These houses are like cardboards made. I, I feel like these houses are like cardboards. So it
Now,
just
not
popped
like in
open.
Ecuador, right? In Ecuador,
Oh, they
they're
cannot do that in
strong.
Ecuador. They have like bricks, very strong, like very strong constructions. It's way cheaper too. Like I think, like, well, this house, they just like the door frame just popped out basically. And I walk in and he jumps me, literally like attacks me. Like I didn't even know he was home. I just wanted to like get into my own home. Um, so he attacks me. He attacks me to the floor. I fell down. I was pregnant, mind you, at this time. I was already pregnant. I was 4 months pregnant. We rolled in the floor. He was trying to call the police and he put his knee on my neck and I couldn't breathe. He was literally strangling me. Like in the floor, he first grabbed me like this and then he put his knee and I was like, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was gonna die. It was horrible. I grabbed his phone, like, well, he had his knee in my neck, and I grabbed his phone and throw it, and then he gets off of me, and that's when I was able to run. I ran. I just escaped because I was terrified. He just had tried to kill me. I felt because I felt like, when you feel like you're dozing away, like that's how I felt. Like I was like closing my eyes, like going falling asleep, but that's how I felt. Like I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. So I was terrified. I left, and then down the road, like a couple miles down the road, the police stopped me. I guess he had called the police, told them I had broke in. I don't know, whatever story. I explained to the cop that that's my house, that I had the right to get in. He agreed with me. um they saw me all covered, like I had a blood spatter like here, because I guess I don't know how he hit me in the nose, so I had like a scratch across my nose and I was bleeding. I was covered in bruises. The police asked me, you're covered in bruises, what happened? I guess from the night before, because when he kicked me out of the house, obviously there was a confrontation. He grabbed me. He was like, handsy. He would grab me like to scare me, like pressure my arms or shake me or push me. um Not like, like punching completely. Like he would just hurt me in like certain ways, like grabbing me or pushing, basically. At the beginning, then when he did that like almost strangled me, that's when I freaked out the most. And then, well, police brought me back to the house. They interrogate him, they interrogate me, find out I'm pregnant. They took pictures of all my injuries. I was covered in injuries. um I had my neck was swollen, like you could see like some lines. So the police took pictures of all that, and they called an ambulance because I wasn't feeling well. Like, I had like nausea. I don't know. I wasn't feeling well at all. He stepped on me, like he literally was on top of me, so he was pressing my belly. I was kind of worried about the baby. Um, so they call an ambulance. They take me to the hospital. Apparently, he got arrested. That time he got arrested. Um,
And when, sorry, when was this? Like, what was the date when all this was happening?
this is September 2020.
Okay.
September 2020, September 29, 2020, he get arrested for domestic violence, aggravated assault on a pregnant woman by strangulation.
When that was
Uh,
you, though, you were the pregnant woman
I
that
was
he
a pregnant
assaulted.
woman. Yeah, I
Okay.
was a pregnant woman. They checked on me. I had injuries in the hospital. They put a neck brace, all this stuff. I do have vertebrae um, messed up. I have all three. What do you call these? The cervical spine, all three herniated now. Because I guess with time it becomes worse, and I have neck pain ever since. Because, well, that was not the first time. That was the first time he strangled me, but that was not the last time he strangled me. So it happened years down the road, but yeah, well, we're going step by step. um so yeah, he get arrested. During that time, he was out on bail. His mom, of course, paid him bail. He calls me from the jail, and I felt bad about him. He guilt trips me, brainwashes me, talks like, oh, he's so sorry, he was doing drugs, he didn't really he was drinking and doing drugs, and he really didn't know what he was doing. He promised he was going to go to rehab, made all these promises. I have everything, all these messages. He would send me disappearing messages on Facebook, but I took screenshots of everything just for validation for myself. One day, like, now I can see his manipulation. How you're the best mom in the world. I love you so much. You're the love of my life. I'm going to take care of you. Like, all this crap he was talking to me so that I helped him get his charges dropped. Once his charges were dropped, he literally switched on me. The first day he gets his charges dropped, he goes down to the courthouse, files an injunction against me, and kicks me out of my own house, pregnant with my children.
Wow.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked because, like, what happened? I thought we were on the same team. I helped you. Like, Bonnie and Clyde shit, like, I was helping you, like, get out of trouble. Why you do this to me? He threw me under the bus, basically, after I helped him get dismissed his charge for aggravated assault on a deadly weapon. I mean, not deadly, aggravated assault on a pregnant woman. which would have been 10 to 15 years in prison. And he was crying every day, like about it. He was like super paranoid throughout those time, like the entire month. He was on an ankle monitor. So like he was always paranoid about us when we were together meeting. We saw each other almost every day when he had a no contact order. So, mind you, like this is my first year in the United States, and I had no idea what a no contact order, how they work here in the United States, because that's not like a thing down there in Ecuador. Um, so I didn't think it was like a big deal breaking it because he was doing it. So well, then he files this injunction against me, right? And I was like, I got kicked out by a cop from my own house, and he shows up at the house begging the cop not to kick me out. I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, this man is crazy. Like, he was there literally crying and begging to the cop not to kick me out after he had already done this filing. Like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna fix it. He kept telling me, I'm gonna fix it. And he kept calling me, and the cop said, like, oh, you can't talk to him. If he calls you, you can't answer. So I wasn't answering. I was paranoid that he was gonna like use that against me. Like I couldn't trust him anymore. Um, but then at night, that same night, I stayed at a friend's house that let me stay with my kids. I called my grandmother because I felt like this was not gonna end up good. We had no home basically, and we already had DCF on our, like, we were on DCF's radar basically. They had already showed up after, like, cop, he would call the cops. Cops come and see kids, they notify DCF immediately. So there was, like, I guess, investigations going on, depending, pending on us. And it was just very confusing because I had no idea what these people are, what the system does, how it works. I was basically new in this country, about how the legal system worked. Um, so it was just very confusing and scary times. Um, my I called my grandmother to come pick up the kids the next day. She was gonna come pick him up. She came pick him up the next day. But in that night, I went down. I was stupid. I didn't know. I should have not go down there. I went down to my house to try to talk to him. I thought, like, maybe he's just confused. I need to tell him that I love him. Blah blah blah. I was really naive. So I went down. I had a no contact injunction, so I should have never done that. But I went down thinking I could reason with him. And when I opened the door, I find him and a naked woman in our couch and another guy. I knew it was his drug dealer friend from AA, but I found out he was his drug dealer. He sold drugs. So
Why is it always that like the AA people are like always like drug dealers and like I feel
yeah,
like people go to AA to like find more drug friends like
yeah, exactly. And that's how he introduced him to me first. Like, he was his friend from AA, whatever. And then I find out he used to be a drug dealer. That's how he told me. But then he was there providing the drugs in his little party with this girl that apparently had hired. It was supposedly a prostitute, but she was the ugly. I'm like, you really paid her? Like, oh my god, she was like, she looked like a crackhead. Like, you would see a crackhead. That's what she looked like. Like
so it was like him and his friend and like a
a
prostitute.
prostitute. Yeah,
You
like
walked
literally
in and you're in your house?
in my house. And she was completely butt naked. And they were not naked.
I would have lost my shit. I
I
would have
did.
literally
I
went
lost my
crazy.
I lost my shit. I lost my shit. I was like, the fuck? I started going out like the Tasmanian devil around the house, throwing the pipes in the floor. There was drugs all over, like in the coffee table, in the dining table, like there was drugs, pipes, like, like, I don't know if it was crack or powder, like I don't know what it was, but I was just like throwing everything in the floor, like scrambling everything, yelling at the top of my lungs, like. And this woman, she ran for her life. I was chasing her. I was chasing her like around the couch, like cat, like my cats a moment ago fighting, kind of. I couldn't grab her because then my ex grabbed me, and then he started beating the shit out of me, like literally beating me up. Like, he grabbed my head against the wall and stabbed me, like boom, boom, like from my hair. He started like stamping my face against the wall, basically, repeatedly, over and over. And Then he was grabbing me from my neck like that, like this, like on a chokehold, and he was choking me really bad. So like I bit him to get out, and then I ran, and he chased me. Um, I always carry in my purse in my car like a knife in my pocket. Like I always had that habit. I mean, I guess growing up in Ecuador, I was used to walking around with a knife. My parents always told me that I needed to bring a knife. My grandpa actually gave me this knife that I walk around with ever since I'm like 13. You know, like it's a dangerous country. So, like in Ecuador, there's a lot of kidnappings and drug wars and all that stuff. So, it's normal for people to walk around with a knife. So, I always had carried a knife. So, I took out the knife I had in my pocket because I wasn't sure. Like, I was afraid. So, I brought it in my pocket. So when I was running out, he was chasing me and he was like in front of me, like trying to stop me. He's like, "It's not what it seems." That word, I was like, the typical, "It's not what it seems." I was like, I was with my knife, like, "Stay away from me, don't touch me," like I was like swinging it. And he was like trying to grab me. I didn't scratch him, I didn't even touch him with a knife. I just like ran away. But I was just holding it because I was scared because he almost fucking killed me inside that house. So excuse my French. So it was like, very, very confusing. So I just left. Then the next morning, I guess, well, I called the police, but I didn't say it was me. I said there was a party going on in that house. There was prostitutes. Like I called to make a report on the house. I didn't say my name or anything. I just left. Um, I went to see my kids, say goodbye to them because my grandma was coming to pick them up. And they called me to come down to the house, the police. So I was like, shit. I know like he probably said I was there or something. Like I just went down there to confront the situation. And I didn't tell the cops anything. I just literally kept my Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate myself. He was asking me questions. I was covered in bruises. Like I had a big bump in my forehead, like this big, literally, and my lip was busted. And I had like bruises. When I left that house, I was covered in blood because my nose started bleeding from the bumps in my face and against the wall. So apparently there was blood all over the house. So the police thought, I don't know, there was like some kind of like crime scene or something because they said there was blood all over the house, but it was from my nose because when I went back home, I had blood like all over my shirt and my pants, like I was covered in blood. Um, but it was my blood. So I don't know what Tony told them. Apparently, he had told them that I stabbed him, which is absolutely not true. I had the knife just to keep him away from me, but I never stabbed him. Um, he was on drugs, so I mean, I don't know. He was just making up stuff. He said that I stabbed him. So basically, I get arrested for violating that injunction and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, even though that wasn't true. They said, "Oh, it's your chance to say your side of the story." Well, I said, "I know, I don't want to talk. I want an attorney." And they say, "Okay, then you're under arrest." I was like, "Shit, okay." And he didn't get arrested. He actually got sent to the psych ward because he had called a friend after I left and threatened to kill himself. His sponsor, apparently, he called his sponsor and told him he was suicidal. And then there was a standoff. I didn't know about that until later. That night before, there was a standoff to get him Baker acted. And then when they got to him, I guess there was a SWAT team and they got in and arrested him. They didn't arrest him. They, I guess, put him under custody for the psychological treatment. They put him on the psych ward in the hospital, basically. And then
Yeah,
he
but
told the
like
police.
how were they able to do that? Is that because he was saying you told them he said he was going to kill himself? Is that
Oh no,
how?
I did not. Somebody else called the police. His sponsor. His sponsor. Apparently, he called his sponsor from AA and told him he was suicidal. And the sponsor called the police, and they did a standoff and grabbed him. And they already knew there was something going on in that house because I had made that call. So they knew. I think they knew it was me that called. And then I don't know why, like the police didn't arrest him because like they clearly could see that I was beat up. But because I went down there, I don't know, it was my fault or something. I don't know what the reasoning was. I didn't even tell them anything that happened. I didn't say he hit me. I didn't say anything. So I don't know if that played a role in that. But um, it was just very, very, very confusing and weird, the whole situation, because he gets taken to the hospital, Baker acted. Obviously, he was out of his mind, and they used his words that he said, I stabbed him to get me arrested, even though he's under the influence and completely out of his mind. Like, I don't know. That just seems very biased. If I was on drugs getting Baker acted, nobody would listen to a word I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but why were you still trying to protect him and not
well,
telling him that he hit you?
I really wasn't trying to protect him. I was just afraid to confess that I was there, as breaking an injunction. Like, um,
Yeah, but at this point, you're already getting arrested
yeah,
for stabbing him. So don't you think you should have said like that he also hit you so that it's like
yeah.
they
Well, after the fact, when I didn't say anything then and there. When I was in the jail, I talked to my attorney and I told him exactly what happened. And that's when, like, things, I guess my attorney helped me a lot to get the charges dropped. Um, they were ultimately they did not, what do you call it, withheld adjudication. They did not adjudicate at the end. But he actually, Tony, after that, after I went to jail, he was trying to get in contact with me the whole time I was in jail. He was contacting my friends, contacting my family. He was contacting this friend he was paying and giving money to, for me, for books, for talking, for food, for wherever, like, for calls. Like, he was like trying. I could have gotten out of jail the first day. I would have been able to get out, because he literally immediately said, I'll pay for her bond. And I said, F you, I don't want to ever know anything about you. I'd rather rot in this jail. Those were my words. I told my friend, I would rather rot in here than ever talking to him again. So I guess because I was proud, I sit in jail for an entire month.
because you
Month-
stayed in jail. So you stayed in jail for a whole month instead of letting him bail you out.
yeah,
Like
I didn't want.
he's the reason you even went to jail.
Exactly. He was the whole reason I was in jail in the first time. But he always does that. He always is the bad guy and then the hero. Like, he creates a situation to later be shown as the hero. Like, he always does that in little or more scale. That's like his
That's like a
strategy.
that's like a typical narcissist
Oh,
tactic.
he
Like
fits
they will create the problem so that then they can be like the savior to
the
come.
savior of their own problem they created. Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what he always does. Up to now, he still does the same thing. Um, so but now I caught on to his game. So it's a different field, basically. Um, so after that, I went to jail, spent there for 33 days, and I was losing a lot of weight and I was pregnant, like, that's not really healthy. It was kind of dangerous for the baby. So I told that to my friend, and my friend told that to Tony, and Tony went out and bailed me.
Who's Tony?
My ex, his name. I don't know if I should not
So
name him, but
so
let's just,
basically you at that point, because you like lost weight and it was starting to affect your pregnancy and your
yeah,
health, you just were like whatever and you put your pride
whatever.
aside and you accepted his offer to bail you out.
Yes,
And
yes,
how much
because I
was the
felt like I
bail?
was going to lose the baby. Like, I lost 12 pounds in a
And how
month.
much was your bail?
It was like $3,000, I think. Well, at the beginning it was like $5,000, but then I did a motion to reduce it, and it got reduced to almost 30,000. So it was like I had to pay like almost $3,000 to get out. So he paid that money.
And so like what can you say a little bit about what it was like during that month being pregnant while you were in jail, and how did they treat you, and do you feel like they were neglecting your needs even as a pregnant woman?
Oh yeah, it was terrible. They treat people like animals there. Like, I have never experienced something so horrible like jail. And actually, this jail was way better than the last.
Which
The one in Orange County is way worse.
what was the what
Clay
is this?
County is
Which one is
nicer.
this?
Even the Clay County jail is a little bit nicer, but even, like, it was not good. It was not good. At least they were not as mean, I would say. The police, or
The marshals?
the correctionals,
I
yeah,
mean
like,
the correctional officers?
Yeah, like
But
they're
wait,
just,
so which jail were you in during this time?
well, now in the latest scheme, the repeat scheme that he did, file injunction, then claim I broke it. This time he literally made up that I broke the injunction, and they believed him and arrested me. And I got sent to Jacksonville, the Duval County Jail, and then transported to Orange County Jail, which is horrific. Jacksonville is better than Orange County. Orange County is the worst of the worst. I could not like, I'm actually being nice saying that it's bad. Like, it's just demonic. The people are out of their mind. They're so ruthless. I saw so much, not only towards me, but like if somebody would just like say something out of line, like they would put them in confinement for hours. Like, very cruel. Like, it was just very cruel treatment to people. And like, it's cruel because you sometimes there's innocent people being arrested. Arrest doesn't mean that you're guilty. Like, sometimes, like my case, an incompetent detective made a lie, like believed lies, and did not corroborate anything, and just repeated whatever my ex said, and they just went with it. And like, I didn't break the injunction. I said something through the our family wizard app, which was allowed. I sent a message through there. Why did I get arrested? If that was not a violation. I was asking about my daughter. Like, are you gonna come pick her up this weekend? Like, that's why they arrested me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like I was arrested for calling the police to say that because there was an like a protective order, like sort of like an injunction that
Mhm.
said that my ex could only contact me in Family Wizard. And it said if he had any contact with me outside of Family Wizard, like whether it was on the phone, in person, through a third party, like any contact at all out of Family Wizard is a violation, which was a felony charge, right? So
That's what they did to me. They charged me
yeah.
with a felony violation of an injunction, aggravated stalking, when I literally just sent a family message through the Wizard app, which is not. But in the warrant, they lied. The cop said, the detective. That's why I say this. He's a very incompetent detective. Said that it was my email, personal email, and they cite my email. And then the message they put in there, there's no email ever sent with that message. It's exactly word by word the family wizard app message.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
such a
it's
joke.
mind
And
blowing.
like, so imagine that you're the one who's protected by the injunction. You call the police to report that the person violated it, and then
They
they
don't
arrest
care.
you. Then they arrest you. That's what they did
Yes.
to me. They arrested me, and he never got arrested, even though he violated the no contact. And I showed them a video of him talking to me. They're like, well, it doesn't matter, this and that, like trying to just make excuses. But
Yeah.
then they
Yeah, they
arrested
make
me and never
excuses for the
arrested
man
him.
all the time. Like,
Yeah.
my ex has been kidnapping her, which is a felony, interference of child custody. When you have a court order, it's a felony. And he just refuses to bring her back to follow a court order. And I haven't seen my daughter since October 31st, since I got arrested the last time.
So what happened in 2023? He got arrested for
It's literally the
aggravated.
same thing. He files an injunction, charge. Well, the first time I would
Wait,
admit
hold on,
that,
hold on, hold on,
I
hold on.
went there.
Wait, hold on, hold on. You said in 2020 you got arrested
Yeah.
for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and violating
No.
the injunction.
Yes. I got
He
arrested that first
then you
time.
said in 2023 he got arrested now for
Oh,
aggravated assault with a deadly
well,
weapon.
that okay, so this is crazy. That was the second time he tried to do this, the same scheme he did. So on 2023, he was going down, spiraling again. We just had recovered our kids from DCF. It was a whole nightmare, a year nightmare after I got arrested to get our kids back, because then, my grandma took my older kids, but DCF placed like an order, like they took custody of my kids even though they were with my grandma, which I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I thought DCF only gets involved with, like, uh kids that have nobody. Like, my kids are with my grandmother. I didn't understand why they were supposed to be involved in the first place, why they filed a petition with the court to restrict my access to my kids when I was the one that placed them with my grandmother in safety. Like, it just blew my mind. But now it makes sense looking back, because I was pregnant and they were targeting that baby. They wanted to adopt Angelica. That's a whole horrific story that we went through. This day that Angelica, our daughter, was born, she was kidnapped from the hospital in Orlando. They literally
And how
showed up in Orlando and make up a whole bunch of bullshit and lies. We had already signed over custody to the grandmother, which is my ex's mom, which she is a nurse, parole officer, and a former CPI for the state of Florida and Michigan, two different states. She's been a child
what's a
protective
CPI?
investigator,
What's a
child
CPI?
a child protective investigator.
So like she worked for Florida's DCF.
Hmm. Yeah, she was a former employee, and they still made up lies of her to deny her to have her own granddaughter.
Wow.
They made up lies on her. They said she's too aligned with the parents when I barely even know this woman, and that woman hates me. Like they said, she's too aligned with the parents, so she can't have custody of the grandbaby. So we're sending her to foster care with strangers.
Wow. So they took her, right? Like
They took
what
Angelica.
how was she like only like a day old? Like she took her like immediately?
Yeah, 4 days. She was 4 days old. I was
Like
about to leave
before
the hospital.
you never even left the hospital.
No, I didn't even. I was about to leave the hospital. They give us all the green light to everything good. Appointments ready. Everything was set up. And then when we were about to walk out the door, they said, no, the baby can't leave. And I mean, like, what do you mean the baby can't leave? Do you have a, and then, I started suspecting that it was about DCF because they wouldn't say anything. They were secretive. And then they had security guards, like basically holding me inside the room, like blocking my door. And I was trying to get out. And I was like, you guys can't do this. This is false imprisonment. Like, I called the police. The police came down to the hospital. And I was like, what's going on? Like, why are these people trapping me here? And they told the people in the hospital that they can't do that they have to let me go because there was no warrant. So I was like about to go. I was leaving with the baby. My ex's mom was there with me. She had the baby because we had just signed over custody papers to her just in case DCF wanted to be funny. Like, we had a gut feeling, but they kept gaslighting us throughout my whole pregnancy. They kept saying they didn't care about the baby, that they were not concerned about the baby. But then as soon as she's born, oh, they're concerned about the baby and we need an immediate removal. Like, it didn't make any freaking sense back then. I just had the feeling that they were lying to me, so we still did the paperwork to save her from the situation, and they still did whatever they wanted. Like, the laws were very clear. Like, they should have granted, like, not interrupt whatever we were doing. Like, we had the right to do that, but they just felt like they had more power and they didn't like us. They just wanted to show us how powerful they were, basically. That they can get away and do whatever they want. Like, they had it against us for some reason because we were very, I would say, difficult with them because, like, I'm like, you're not, like, who do these people think they are? Like, that was my attitude. Like, who do these people think they are? Um, just talking shit and lying. Like, the whole paperwork, I was full with so many lies. Like, I could never trust them from the beginning because the whole petition in the beginning about my older kids was filled with lies. So how am I gonna trust these people? So I never trusted them. I always was trying to get ahead. So we did all this paperwork so that the grandmother can take baby home from the hospital, and they still lied and denied her and made up lies about her too. So all of a sudden, she was the safety monitor for the supervisory stations for my ex and his older daughters. All of a sudden, she wasn't good enough to be the supervisor anymore. So not only they took our baby, but then they took away his visits, and he wasn't able to see his daughters for almost an entire year after that, even though he had ordered an order that said that he was entitled to supervised visits. So we just kept seeing the baby, and until we fought, and paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in attorney's fees to finally get her back. Actually, his mom was so pissed that she mortgaged her house to be able to pay our legal fees, and she also hired an attorney for herself. Um, I think it was more like an ego thing for her, like her, like her reputation. Basically, they just you know disparaged her. Like, how come she's not good enough to take care of her own granddaughter? Like, she felt insulted. So that's why I feel like she also felt compelled to help and pay our legal fees and hire like 3, 4 attorneys we had. Um, oh no, my ex changed attorneys because he any disagreement he will fire them. Right. So yeah, so that's basically that whole year was like that. At the end, the only reason we got Angelica back was because we were able to prove that the guardian ad litem was lying. They lied in a report. They were trying to take away my. I had already won unsupervised visits in, like, even though they were all objecting, even though I had already completed the whole dumb case plan, because it's like the dumbest thing. It's just like money for them. Like they just make money for those services. I feel like it's not like really that something helps parents become better parents. I feel like it's the most ridiculous thing. They make you just jump through all these little dumb classes and therapies to get your kids back. And then at the end they're like, oh, you're just checking boxes. I mean, yeah, duh, where else is this? This is about checking boxes, but they use all these dumb weird phrases and excuses to try to make it seem like, oh, you haven't benefited from the services. There's no changes, there's no behavioral changes, that's their word. So they're always trying to say that there's no behavior changes, so therefore you don't deserve your kids back. um well, we won in a hearing. I won unsupervised visits, which is like the next step before reunification. So on my unsupervised visits, I started noticing people stalking me, cars following me, the same car following me over and over. And I even recorded this. Like, I knew this car was following me. I noticed that all my unsupervised visits for the past few weeks, there was the same car following me everywhere. And then I was smart enough in the sense that I had a body camera on me all the time. I just didn't trust these people at all. So every single visit, all the time, I had a body camera clipped on me, and I always had it on. Um, I also had Live 360 app in my phone, and also had my ex, because I had heard a horrible story in the visitation center from another mom whose rights got terminated because she had already got super up to unsupervised visits, but then she supposedly broke the no contact order by meeting the father, and like the baby wasn't supposed to see the father unsupervised, like outside of supervised visitations, like outside of the center. So supposedly they said, which I now think it's a lie, that this mom met with the dad somewhere else, and that's how they were able to take her visits away, and then they terminated her rights based on the time the kid had been in custody and care. So this child got adopted. So that was my terrified, just to think like, oh, these people could just like make up a lie, say that I'm meeting Tony in somewhere because I'm unsupervised, and they wouldn't allow anybody to come with me to this unsupervised visitations. Like, they wouldn't allow grandparents, they wouldn't allow my family, they wouldn't allow friends. Like, it was just weird. Like, they were trying to isolate me, to put me in a trap, basically, so they can come up with a lie, and I have no witnesses. So that's basically what they did. They wrote in a report that I had broke the safety plan by meeting with Tony at a Starbucks, which was completely like, because I never even stopped at the Starbucks. I just went through the drive-through, but this car was following me around. And I guess because they couldn't find dirt on me, they had to make it up. So they said I met with Tony at the Starbucks, and I had the proof that it was. I just went through the drive-through and then went to the mall. And thank God I had all these records of like the app where I was, where Tony was, the we went even far. My attorney went as far as getting the cameras from the the Starbucks to prove we weren't even there. And it's crazy because the burden of proof is on them. But they were supposed to prove the what they're saying is true. But no, it was like us trying to prove that they were lying. Like, in the hearing, that's how the magistrate made us feel. Like, and then our attorneys were good at that. And like, hey, first of all, it's their burden of proof. We're actually proving too much that these allegations are are lies. So it's like, like they all try to cover for themselves. I felt like the magistrate was in some way trying to protect the guardian ad litem. They might be friends. I don't know. It's like a little small town. Everybody knows everybody. They probably see each other all the time. So she was trying to cover for her, like, oh no, it must be like a misunderstanding, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, they're putting it in black and white to screw me over. Like they're trying to take away my unsupervised visits, um, to, boycott reunification basically. So after they got caught red-handed lying, because they put that on a paper, and we filed all the evidence and filed a motion to find them to be acting in bad faith. So that's basically the worst thing you can do to a guardian ad litem, is tell them that they're acting in bad faith. So immediately after we filed that motion, they were like, "Hey, you know what? Let's cancel the hearing for this motion, and let's just give you Angelica back." Well, how about that?
Wow.
So, oh wow, all of a sudden, I'm not a danger. I'm not a threat. I'm not a bad mom. And here you go, have your child back. It's crazy because I heard so many stories that when they reunify the kids, they do a slow transition of weeks and sometimes even months, like back and forth, like overnights. And then we never had that. We had one overnight, one weekend overnight. Like she stayed with me one weekend, and then when it was over, they're like, "Oh no, you can just keep her." So literally, like it was not even like just one overnight. Basically, we had, and then immediately they returned her. It was crazy because it went so fast after they got caught lying in February. By the end of March, we had Angelica back.
Wow.
Yeah,
And so
because because their goal was, okay. So we dismiss the motion. We don't go to court. They don't get exposed. So basically, we didn't go to court in that motion because we have plenty of evidence to show that they were acting in bad faith, and that would have been terrible for her, for the guardian ad litem.
how did you guys then later end up in family court?
Okay, yeah. So we closed the DCF case. We went back. We moved in together in this newer, bigger house, very beautiful house, in Clay County. We were good for a couple of months, and then it wasn't even 6 months after the case was closed that he relapsed. No, 3 months after the case got closed, he started relapsing, but I didn't know 100% yet because he was like hiding it. I started finding like paraphernalia, like
So
little
what, like
things.
this is like a second relapse after the first
Yes,
time? How
yes.
long had
After
he how
he
long
had
had
been
he
sober all that time throughout the case, like basically like a year and a half, kind of like a year and a half. He went to rehab when I was in jail. After I got out of jail, he paid my bond. We talked, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to rehab. I'm gonna do whatever you say, whatever." Okay, so I basically forgave him, and we decided to fight this together to get our kids back because I was pregnant, and we kind of knew something was on. Like we just wanted to be together for whatever it was. But then they took the baby. We didn't think they were gonna be able to pull that off because we thought we had a plan B to save her from this. But it went that way, so we were even more in it together. Fighting to get our daughter back. Um, so we went to couples therapy. I kind of feel like I let a lot go by. Like I was walking on eggshells throughout the whole year, like just keeping the peace, just like not confrontation. And like he would go out gambling, like, playing poker, whatever, and like sometimes wouldn't even come back home or come back home really late. I just
so
had to put up with a lot.
did he have a did he have a gambling addiction?
Yeah. So he basically replaced one addiction with another. While he was not using drugs, he started going to the casino. So, like, I guess that was his replacement for his drug addiction. At least it wouldn't come up in a drug test, and screw the whole case over. So I guess that's how he managed. He was also have taking this kratom, this thing called kratom, a lot. He was drinking that a lot. Like it. I don't know what it does or what it is, but
That's like it's like you can like buy it at gas stations and stuff,
yes,
but people
yes.
say it's like similar to like an opiate.
Well, I guess he was using that to manage his addiction, but he was taking a lot of that kratom. He was taking a lot of that kratom in pills, in like
So
powder.
how did you find out he relapsed again? Just from finding paraphernalia?
Yes. So I started finding paraphernalia, blood spatters. When I started finding the little blood
Ew.
spatters, yeah,
Oh my
because
God,
he will like,
stop.
from like from the needles, from the
Ew.
pointy, it will like splatter blood, especially if he's like high or drunk. So like started finding blood spatters in the bathroom. When I saw that, I was like, he's doing fentanyl. You know, like like that's how I remember when he was doing fentanyl. He would like had those blood spatters around the house. So that's when I started
That's
confronting him.
disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I started confronting him. I started finding needles too. And he's like gaslighting me, like, oh no, that's just I was injecting my therapy. Like, yeah, he has like hormone therapy treatment or something. Like he has to inject testosterone to him for some
Does he have
reason.
like low testosterone or
So
something?
yeah, that's what he says. I don't know why. I don't know if because he used to have like steroids or something. He used to do that. He used to inject himself like auto medicate. I say like a lot of stuff like hormones. Like he would put like that HCG hormone. Like he used to inject a lot of things. I don't know. It's weird.
No wonder
Um,
he's crazy. He's all roided out.
yeah, yeah. So I started.
Does he work out? Does he go to the gym?
Yeah, yeah. He's really big on gym. Like he's obsessed with his image, his like body and all that. Like he's very shallow in that way. Um, yeah. So like he goes to the gym all the time. He always wants to look good and all that. So I don't know. I feel like, well, I guess it's part of the narcissistic personality
Of
that he
course.
is always very self-concerned or like self-aware, like self-conscious about his looks. But yeah, so he was doing fine. I started finding the needles, and he said like, "Oh no, that's my testosterone shot. That's my whatever gaslighting me." But I knew that he was acting weird, and he looked strange, and he was erratic, angry. Like he would sleep all day, and then would go to the casino, disappear, and then like I will find the stuff in the garage. I caught him a few times. So I caught him on Christmas because we went to have Christmas with my family in Miami, and I left the camera. I left a little hidden camera in my bedroom, and I clearly saw it. I saw everything. I have the whole video, him like preparing the drugs, shooting up, passing out in the bedroom. Like I have this whole thing recorded. He's like passing out in the bedroom, in the floor, getting up, shooting again, falling again. It's like so disturbing. It's like so disturbing to watch. It's very gross. So well, I confronted him that Christmas. It was Christmas 2022, and big fight, all that. My dad died in January 2023. I went to Ecuador. I stayed there for a week, I think, and then I came back. And after that, I feel like that was a wake up call. I was like, life is short. I can't live like this. And I feel like my dad hated me. I knew my dad hated him and hated me being with him, and I'm like, I can't continue with this. So I had the strength to finally leave around March 2023. Um, After my daughter's birthday, we had a celebration. It was all good, kind of there up till then. But then there was a big argument in the house. He attacked me brutally, like horribly. I remember, like, I think I found like the needles and stuff, and we were fighting about that. And he started just chasing me. He grabbed me in the floor. He started kicking me in the floor. Like, I have a bruise this big, bigger than my face and my in my leg. I have all these pictures, all this documented. It was horrible. It was a horrible beating. He would just kick me in my back. I have like bruises. I had bruises all over my body, in my back, in my rib cage, and like in my leg, in my butt. Like it was just like kicking. He kicked me all over in the floor. So I ran because he went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife, and he said, "Oh, you're done, bitch." So I thought he was gonna kill me. I ran outside. I jumped into his car that was open and started honking on the horn. He came out with the knife, following me, and was trying to open the door of his car. And I think I have even recordings of all this, bits and pieces. And well, there's also the neighbor's camera that got all this. Um, Apparently, the neighbors are the ones that call the police. He gets me out of the car, and I have a video of this. Like I was in his car, and I found all this drug stuff, like little like balls of metal balls, like wires and pipes and stuff. And I'm like recording it. I'm like, oh, so yeah, all your drug stuff is in here. Like, And then, well, he gets me out of the car, throws me out, and then he jumps in the car and leaves. And then the police show up moments later. Apparently, the neighbors have heard the scandal. Like I was honking on the horn, like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah," because I was scared. He threw the knife. He ran away. When the police come and I show them the bruise in my leg, because I mean it was already swollen. I think yeah. So yeah. So it was. I showed them the bruise in my leg, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And then I guess that's when they started like investigating, and they were looking to arrest him. They were looking for him. They were calling him, trying to like locate him. He was hiding. You know what he did? He went to the courthouse, and I don't know if he went that day or the next day, but while they were looking for him, he went to the courthouse and filed for an injunction against me.
What year was this?
2023 for the second time. He gets it granted
So was this
immediately without a hearing.
was this before or after he was arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly
After
weapon?
that was it was 3 years after. It's
So
like
was this before or after you guys started getting into family court?
this was before family court. This yeah. So
So
family court
just so
came the next year.
so,
2024 is when the
so
family
just
court
so we
started.
don't backtrack too much, let's get back to what happened since 2024 when you guys got into family court.
Okay, yeah. So on 2024, after he got arrested, we 100% separated. After that, we never went back to living together or anything. 2023 was the end of it. Um, he filed an injunction. It got approved, and he from the jail voluntarily dismissed it to try to get me to help him. Of course, this time I didn't help him as much, but I wasn't as smart as I should have. Like I should have filed for full custody while he was in jail. Stuff like I should have done looking back. I just left it, run its course, and now 2024, he's out of jail, out of rehab after like 6 months, and he started asking for visits. So okay, I gave him voluntarily every other weekend, like without a court order. We were all amicably, everything was going good, because I said, okay, you're going. He was staying with his mom, so I was like, fine, Angelica's gonna be safe there regardless. So we were doing things out of court, but it was aggravating because sometimes he would like get her and say, oh no, force me to drive all the way to Daytona to pick her up because he was supposed to bring her back and forth. That was the agreement. And then sometimes he didn't want to do it. He wanted to force me to drive from my own gas. I'm like, you need to pay me the gas. It was always a problem. So the thing is, like, it was aggravating not to have a court order specifying, everything, because he would use that to manipulate. Oh, then I'm not bringing her back. And then, and it's always like coercive, always
Even
trying
with
to control me.
even
So
with a court order, they still, even if you have a
exactly.
court order, they ignore it
Ignore
and
it,
they
exactly.
don't
Yeah.
enforce
So
it.
back down, we didn't even have a court order back then, so it was worse. But then it's still with a court order, he's not following like right now. So we went on 2024. The case started because I was in Ecuador. He didn't know I was in Ecuador. I actually had Angelica was in school. I wanted to bring her with me, but the school it was like a preschool daycare thing. So they had a program and she couldn't really miss because they had a subsidy. So if she missed more than 3 or 4 days, she wouldn't get like the funding for it. So I was like, okay, the responsible mom, she has to stay in school. My sister lived with me back then, so she was taking her to school every day, and dad would pick her up from the school every other weekend. That was our plan. So he found out I'm in Ecuador and immediately went to the courthouse and filed for full custody because my son accidentally told the little sister over the phone, we're in Ecuador. And I said, what have you done? Basically, to my older son. And my son's like, oh, mom, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And then he immediately, like, day after or 2 days after that, on my daughter's birthday, like my older daughter's, my second daughter's birthday, he went and filed for full custody. I was like, seriously? Like, you're not even
But
like a
like
couple months out of
he
jail and
filed
he's
for
full custody.
he filed for full custody, but what did he say? Like just like she's out of the country?
Oh yeah, he was claiming a bunch of bullshit that I abandoned her. Like I left her with him which is not true. I left her with my sister. So like just claiming a bunch of stuff that I was trying to kidnap her out of the country, even though it makes no sense because why would I leave her if I could have bring her with me? Like I left her to do the responsible thing and keep her in school, and then he kidnaps her
Did she
from
even
school.
have did she even have a passport?
He did. He signed the passport while
So
we were together.
you didn't even try to take her out of the country.
I
You
didn't
just
even
went by
try.
yourself and
I
he
just
just
went by
lied.
myself and left her because she had school. I didn't want her to miss school and lose her funding because we live here. I
And
wasn't
how
going to
old was
move back.
she? How old was she then?
3 years old.
So she was 3 in like a preschool program. And so
Yeah.
you were in Ecuador at this
I went
time.
to Ecuador just because we go every year vacations. I have my family there, and my kids have my older kids have their dads there, and we go every year to visit family. They go to visit their parents. I go visit my mom. Like my siblings, cousins. I have so much family down there. Like
So the day that he filed, you were in Ecuador. He then goes and picks up Angelica
from
from,
school and kidnaps her. He doesn't return her ever because he didn't return her to school. Made her miss
well, but
miss weeks.
it wasn't really kidnapping because he had a court order that said he gets full custody, right?
No, no, he did not had any court order. There was no court order up
So
till then. He
so
just
he
filed
he filed like he didn't ask for emergency custody. He just asked for full custody and then like a regular petition, right?
a regular
And
petition. Yeah.
then they gave like a court date like far away,
Yes.
and then he just went to her school to go get her.
Yes. He went to go get her, knowing that I wasn't there, but my sister was gonna pick her up, but he still did whatever he wanted, and he was trying to get full custody, I guess, and withhold her. He didn't want to let me see her until court for no reason. I said, no, that's not happening. You need to bring her. I kept insisting, insisting, insisting. I went back to the United States. And when I went back, I kept asking, okay, can you return her in the police station here, there? Like I gave him so many options. He kept refusing everything, saying he was not going to comply. And I said, okay, okay, leave it. I went, I had a new car, brand new car. My dad, we swapped cars basically. My old van with his van. So I went to Orlando on my way on my way to Jacksonville because from Miami to Jacksonville, I stopped in Orlando. This was crazy. I literally because it was a new car. He didn't recognize the car. I parked a block down his street, his mom's house, down the street, and just waited. I just waited. I asked the ex-wife if he was gonna bring the kids today to like if he had time with them today, and she said yes. He was supposed to pick them up from school at this time, so I calculated he was going to pick up the daughters and bring them home. So when he came home with the older daughters get off the car, they ran to the door, open the door, my daughter comes out, and I get out of the car so fast and goes running so fast and grabbed her.
Oh my
He didn't
god.
even see me coming. He was like, "What are you doing?" He started yelling and yelling, and like he tried to grab me, but he couldn't. Like I just ran and grabbed her, and then he like locked the door behind him, like tried to trap me inside his mom's house. The mom tried to snatch Angelica from my arms, and I was like, "Don't touch me." Don't touch my baby. And my daughter was like, Mom, let's get out of here. Run, run. Like she knew she was being held captive. Like poor baby. She was 3 years old and she already knew like something was wrong because they weren't even letting her talk to me. They weren't letting me. 2 weeks I had been without seeing her, which that
But
was
like
the longest.
I think it might have changed at some point in 2024, but I think like that in Florida, the law always was that if you're not married, the mother automatically gets sole
Yes,
custody. But then I
yes,
think
but
they changed
they
it in
changed
like
it. And
summer.
that's
So was
why the police weren't helping me to get her back because
so
of
this
all
was
these dumb laws.
after so this was like after like the summer of 2024.
Yeah, this was like August.
That was like right when the law changed to like 50-50 custody.
Yeah, I couldn't even believe it. Like, and the cops were like, "Oh no, we can't do anything." But I'm like, he has no custody. I am the legal custodian, and they wouldn't do anything. So I had to go do it. Basically, take it on my own hands to recover my daughter, which I can't do that now because of the injunction, the
I
third
feel like
one.
there's literally people who like coach these like dads to do this now, because I've heard so many other stories like of other people saying the same thing where there's no court order saying that dad gets time, they're not married, but the dad will just take the kid and not give it back, and then the police will be like, sorry, it's a civil
Yeah,
matter,
his
you can't do
attorney, I'm
anything.
pretty sure he had an attorney still because of his custody divorce. The same attorney is now in my case. So she was the one obviously telling him what to do and how to act. I'm pretty sure she's the one that told him to do that, to
what's
withhold
her
her.
what's her name?
Her name is Angela McMahon. I've been very vocal
Angela
about her.
McMahon.
McMahon, yeah, from Orlando.
So
She
let's talk
is.
about where things are now with the custody case. Are you guys still going to court, and what court are you in?
Okay, we're still in Clay County. So what happened is that he filed an injunction in Orange County, where I never lived. He doesn't even live there. He lives in Seminole. But I know that Angela McMahon used to work there as a staff attorney for, like, for the judges. So she was a staff attorney there. She obviously knows somebody there, and they filed an injunction. She filed as her attorney, and then when I appealed, all of a sudden she's not his attorney anymore. She filed a letter of non-representation, which I'm like, okay, then he lied in his petition, said that she was his attorney. Yeah, she was his attorney, and it's not true. So uh, I'm still fighting in the appeals court that injunction. It's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare because of this injunction. He literally showed up at the school, picked her up, and never returned her. And now I can't show up there and pick her up. And like what I did last time, he knows exactly what he's doing.
So when's your next court date?
We have a motion for contempt hearing on March 5th. So next week.
And that's your contempt against him?
My contempt against him, which he didn't even file a response.
And it's contempt saying he violated what?
The court order, because with the temporary court order gives me majority timeshare and him every other weekend.
And he
Because he
hasn't.
tried. Okay, so yeah, on the hearing where he filed for full custody, he didn't get it. Obviously, he got every other weekend what he already had. So
But
he
then
was
he
just
just
trying.
refused to follow that.
Yes, exactly. Because
So
he
when
tried again in June to modify to get more time. He wanted 50-50. And the judge said no because she's in school and she has a, like, we live far apart anyway, so
so
it's
what
not feasible.
okay, so when's the last time you saw your daughter?
October 31st, 2025.
And that was when you were still giving him the every other weekend?
He was getting every other weekend. Yes, he picked her up from school and dropped her off at school, and that was the plan. And he made this injunction and then made up the allegation that I broke the injunction, created a criminal charge with no evidence, with literally lies. Like the
In
warrant is a
2025?
lie.
In 2025?
In 2025, yeah, that's
In
when I got
October?
arrested in October. I got
But
arrested in
but
October
you were
31st.
so what were you arrested for? What was the charge?
Violation of an injunction. The charge I got arrested was a felony aggravated stalking charge because of a message that I supposedly sent. They said in the warrant I sent it via email, personal email,
So
but it's not.
is this the same injunction that he had from years ago?
No, it's a different one because the first one got dismissed because he admitted that he was high on drugs. He filed a letter with the court, notarized, admitting that he was delusional and all this. And then the second injunction he filed, then he dismissed it voluntarily from jail because he was the one arrested for violence against me. I don't get it how these courts grant these violence injunctions, and like I every single time I have asked for one, which is probably four, I never get one.
They only grant them when it's not needed. Like if it's somebody trying to harass somebody and get an injunction, they'll grant it. If it's
Yeah,
somebody who actually needs it, they
they
will not
don't.
grant it. And so it's like part of like, okay, if somebody's abusive, they give them custody. If somebody's trying to protect their children, they put them on supervised visits. It's like
Eso me
everything's backwards, everything's
It's a
inverted.
twilight zone. I keep telling everybody, like nobody in Ecuador, my friends, my family, like I explained this to them, and they're like, "That doesn't make any sense." Like this is the United States. I'm like, yes, this is the United States. This is not fucking Ecuador. Like it's crazy. Not even in Ecuador, this
In
kind of things
Ecuador,
happen.
do you know anything about how divorces and custody stuff happens there? Have you
Yes,
ever heard
I
of
mean,
women going through
usually
it?
the mom, it's like moms are very highly respected. There's no way you can take a child from a mom in Ecuador. Like, even if
Unless the
she's a
mom's like
prostitute.
severely, yeah, she has to be like severely abusing the kid to take them away.
Yes, and the only time I have heard a case in Ecuador where the mom lost the kid is because the mom was extremely abusive, physically abusive, and got caught on a camera abusing the child. And the child still went to family members, to the aunt.
Yeah.
Like,
And even
there's
like
no foster
DCF,
care.
yeah,
There's no
even
foster care system in Ecuador. There's no
yeah, and
foster parents.
DCF's
There's no foster kids.
yeah, and DCF's like own policies say that they're supposed to try to give the kid to the family first before
Yes,
putting them in foster care, but you already
they,
said they didn't do that in your case, and
they did not. They don't do that.
they don't do that because they don't make any money when they give it to the family. They make more money when they
Exactly.
give it to a foster parent, and then they get
Exactly.
and like
The child is
Ecuador doesn't have Title 4D and Title 4E and all these federal matching programs from the government. Their government doesn't say, "Here, we'll give you free money if you take kids away." Like their government doesn't care about
exactly.
that shit. So it's like
No,
they're just normal. Like you go to court, you get divorced, that's it. The mom gets the kid,
yeah,
the dad gets to see the kid, it's over. And so it's like
yeah.
I don't think that I think that it's shocking for a lot of
There's
people,
no, yeah,
especially
there's no reason to continue these cases and strong them out. Like,
yeah,
family,
exactly. There's no
all the
money incentive.
corruption in the courts, it's in the criminal matters in Ecuador. There's no, and like family matters, it's pretty cut and clear. Like, the mom can be a drug addict, the mom can be a prostitute. Like, there's no way the mom's gonna lose custody. The moms always get the kids. That's how it is down there. Like, moms get the kids. If the father wants custody, okay, they'll get visitation, depending, on their involvement prior. It could be 50-50. It could be every other weekend. It could be like, but mom is primary caregiver always. And I feel like that's very respected down there. Is something that um a judge would never take away a child unless it's like a video of the mom abusing the child, basically.
Yeah, and the fact that you have videos of your ex shooting up
Using drugs
and
in front of the
passing out
kids. I
and
have
then
more
getting up and
videos.
doing it again, and
I
that
have
means
more
nothing to
videos.
the
I have
court.
videos of him literally
I would
shooting up drugs with the kids in the living room. I had to take them all out. He was like
and
passing away. Like,
you
I
didn't
show that.
you didn't show these in court in family court,
I did. I did.
and they don't care.
The judge said, "Oh, that's too old. That's older than a year." I was like, "It's barely a year old," and they still. It's like, "Oh no, that's older than a year." So I can't take that into account. But you can take into account my criminal case that was 3 years ago. Like I don't get it. Like, sometimes they will validate certain things and not other things. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I think it's like shocking for a lot of people. Like even though you were born in the U.S., like
Yeah,
you spent
I
a
grew
lot of
up in
time.
Ecuador.
You grew up in
Yeah.
another country, and so it's like to come into the U.S. and you think like things are legit, and like you think that
Oh, I
there's a
thought he
justice
was better. Like,
system, and
the
you
people
think
were
that
more like
there's
following the law by the
yeah, you
books,
think that you have
basically.
laws and you have rights and you have this great
Rights,
country
especially
and
rights.
opportunities, and it's like you go there and you're like, wait a second, this is a joke. Like it literally
Yeah,
is a joke. There's no other way to
it's a
describe
joke.
what
It's a
they're doing in
circus.
these.
It's a
It is.
circus.
It is. And like, and then if you complain about it, they try to put you in jail. They try to silence you. They take your kids. They do anything. And like, these are things that are like dictatorship tactics, like governments that
Yes,
are like in places where you have zero rights are doing things like this. In the US, nobody expects that this happens. And like,
people
and
don't
I
know
feel
it.
like it's all because of these financial incentives because you don't only see it happening to moms, you don't only see it happening to dads, you see it happening across the board because the money is good for whoever, like
Yeah,
if I'm the state of Florida and I take away your daughter and put her in Florida DCF, I get paid. The
yeah,
state gets paid, right? So like if and the same thing too, if one child gets removed from one parent and goes to the other parent, they also get paid. And so it's like
yeah.
that's why they keep these cases open forever. The cases don't close. Like they stay on the docket. So you can always go back and file a motion for contempt or like what other cases are like that? Like
Yeah,
if I sued you for $1 million for
yeah.
a car accident, once the case is over and it says, okay, pay me $1 million,
A final order.
that's
It's done.
it.
Yeah.
It's over. It's done. You appeal it. At that point, it's done. Like, but with these cases, you appeal, you go back, you keep, it's like a revolving door and it never ends.
It's
So,
never ending. It's like, and I feel like I'm trapped basically because I'm not from here. If I want to go back home now, I can't. Like now I'm like trapped in this invisible cage in this state. I can't move more than 50 miles away without his permission. I'm like, he's my abuser. Why do I have to ask him for permission to move on with my life?
exactly. Meanwhile, he should not even have any rights at all,
Exactly. He
especially
should
because
not
his
even have any rights to begin with.
failure to rehabilitate, and if he's still using drugs, like, but I mean, are you do they live stream any of these court hearings where like people can watch on Zoom?
Yeah. Last time I requested a link for court watchers, so they do have. If I'm pretty sure the judge allowed last time, I had court watchers in person and on Zoom too.
Okay, so would you like want, if anybody wants to support you and like be a court watcher,
Oh
maybe they
yeah,
can
absolutely. I
watch your
definitely
hearing?
need. I feel in my experience when I went to court the first time, I had nobody there, no court watchers, no support. It didn't go as well as it should have. I was very anxious, very nervous. I have post traumatic stress disorder because of all this, of the domestic violence, especially. So I felt like the judge was very ignorant, to say, like, not in a bad way, but like ignorant about like trauma, like not trauma informed, like, so he saw my anxiety as if something wrong with me. Like he made some comments that are ignorant in its nature because he's not aware of how trauma works and stuff. So he made some comments that kind of was like negative towards me and put that in the order, which I didn't like. But then the second time, I didn't even have an attorney. The second hearing, I represented myself and I did way better. My attorney was the one that's stressing me out, I think, in the first hearing because she wouldn't object. She wouldn't say anything. She wouldn't put, like, she would just let them put on the record. I kept writing down notes for her and she would ignore me, so it was just aggravating. In the next hearing, the second hearing, I had a lot of people there. I had a lot of people in person and also like, on Zoom. And I felt like the judge felt watched. So I felt like he behaved way better. Like his demeanor against me was different. Like he was not rude or disrespectful or dismissive. He was actually helpful and like nice. He actually, I was nervous at some point and I could have done a better job like interrogating him. I just like grabbed a few pieces of like basic proof evidence and showed it and validated that evidence, like showed it to him. Is this your signature? Did you sign this? Stuff like that. And the judge, after he read the evidence, basically agreed with me and I won in that hearing against him and his very abusive attorney. So that was great. I got their emotions all dismissed. He wanted more time. He wanted to get me drug tested, to get me psych evaluated, a bunch of stuff. Like the drug addict telling me that I need a drug test. Unbelievable. So yeah, so that happened, and now it's gonna be our third hearing in front of the same judge. And for this time, it's for the motion for contempt. And I do have an attorney, which I think he's pretty good, and he's advocating for me. So we'll see. I do need support for the people. It does make a difference. I'm telling you. The first time the judge, you could see like he was just being, I guess, had a bad day or whatever, being an asshole. But then the second time he was on his best behavior, I guess, because there was a lot of people, and it does make a difference. It does make.
Okay, so the next one is March 5th.
Fifth. Yeah, next
At what
week.
time?
I
What
think
time
it's
is it at?
at 1:30 p.m. I'm gonna have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's like in the afternoon, 1:30. Yeah.
Okay, and that's next Thursday, 1 week
Yeah.
from today.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, and then what is it? It's the Clay County Family Court.
It's the Clay County Courthouse in Green Cove Springs. For whoever is nearby, would like to assist, but I have a link that I will be posting in my page too. There's this group called We the Parents that do court watching. I was gonna post it there too. So whoever wants to reach out, I'll send you the link. Because I have the link.
Okay,
So,
and we can also, if you send me the link, I can add it in
oh yeah, the
the
notice of hearing and the link.
description.
Yeah, yeah.
I can put it in the description when I post the episode, so anybody who wants to like follow your case can watch along.
Okay.
But thank you for sharing everything. I know it's a lot and
It's
there's
a
probably a
lot.
lot more that you didn't get to say, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if anybody's out there that wants to be a court watcher or anybody in person in Clay County, Florida area that wants to support Daniela can, you know, reach out to her. Do you have, you're on Facebook, Instagram, are you on
Yes.
TikTok?
I am, yes, but I'm not like really good at that TikTok. I just have one. But I post pictures of my cats and videos of my cats. It's a cat TikTok basically.
I just posted a
um,
cat one like 2 days ago.
oh my god, yeah. So just I guess I'm more active on Facebook and Instagram. I guess, yeah. So Daniela Raquel, no, Daniela Cueva Perez. I think that's how I'm named. Daniela Cueva Perez is my name in social media.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again for coming on,
Oh
and
yeah, thank you for having me.
you're welcome. And I wish you the best of luck, and we're going to be following along for updates.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye.